Hello again, everyone. Again, my name is Tanya Bruce Smith, and this is the Prioritize the Pause show. So, on today's episode, we're going to talk about how do you prepare yourself for a transition. So, let's first talk about what is a transition. So, when you're shifting from one state to another, so that transition can be getting married, it can be changing jobs, it could be you're preparing to change how you take care of yourself health wise. A lot of us are really trying to focus on improving our health overall. It could be changing relationship in another direction, like divorce, bringing children into the world. So, how do we prepare for that? And with some transitions, we don't know what's going to happen. Like if it's a sudden death or if you got fired or different things like that, we don't know. But a lot of times we do know prior to a transition, and we have that time to prepare. So, pausing, taking some time to see what we need prior to that transition can really help to make it a smoother experience, an experience where you feel supported, where you're less stressed, and you actually are enjoying the process of going from one thing to another. So, there are a few things that I have seen in my life that have been very helpful in that time of transition. For example, for me, I've transitioned a lot of different ways. Number one, I've talked about this before, changed jobs several times. So preparing prior to a job change. With me, I am preparing to be someone's mother in the future. So that transition. And then I was recently married a little over a year ago. So I did a lot of things prior to prepare myself. So the first thing that I definitely recommend that people do is think about what is going on with their stress. How are you managing your stress? There's definitely going to be new stressors that come because anytime you transition from whatever state to this new state, there's going to be stress that happens because there are new things you have to think about. Your mind and how you're doing things are not going to be on autopilot. So you have to figure things out, and that can be very stressful. It takes a lot of decision power and mind power to do all these new tasks, even if it's good tasks. Even like with marriage and having children, there's a lot of new things you have to learn, which can be stressful. So having some kind of idea of what happens to you when you're stressed is important. So, for example, for me, when I'm stressed, I know suddenly I'll start to want a lot of carbohydrates. I might not be sleeping as well. Some people, they start to lash out at people. They become more angry. You have to know what stress feels like for you. But then, along with knowing what stress feels like for you, is having a regimen to help you with that stress, some kind of stress management tools. I talk about this all the time, creating a joy list. And that joy list is not just for adding joy to your life, it also could be used as a stress management tool. So, what a joy list is literally a list of however many, I always say 10, but you can put more things, activities, objects, whatever, that just make you happy when you see it or experience it. For me, dancing is on my joy list, going for a walk with my dogs on my joy list, being out in nature is on my joy list, listening to certain songs, and I actually know the specific song. Encourage Yourself is a gospel song that if I hear that, mood shifted. Also, certain Caribbean and African based songs, because I can dance to them, they shift my mood. And you want it to be very simple activities or something very small that you can do because when you're in a stressed state, that's not the time to say, well, the only way to get out of this state is to go to Jamaica. Well, you're probably not going to be able to go to Jamaica like that. It's going to take some effort for that to happen. So you want to make it a very easy task for you to do. Also, having visual reminders can be very helpful as well. Behind me are pictures from my wedding day. So when I am stressed out or on a call or something like that, I literally can look at the corner of my eye and see myself kissing my husband, seeing me and my bridesmaids. Those are just a few of the pictures that are right there in my eye line. So they're just visual reminders of happy moments for me. And that always brings back that happy energy for myself. Also, when you're preparing for a transition, knowing what else relieves your stress. So for me, I love yoga. Yoga really helps. And when you have that period of time prior to that transition happening or at the beginning, you want to double down on those self-care or stress relieving activities. So what I am doing right now, because I know 2023 is about to be a year of expansion in lots of ways. So before 2023 even happens, I want to make sure I'm grounded in my body. So I want to really start cultivating my home yoga practice. I put a time in the schedule, 6 a.m. every morning. I set up my office. I'm actually recording it because I'm going to post it on Instagram as accountability for me, because without it, might not happen. You also have to know yourself. And I'm going to just do yoga for 10 to 15 minutes a day. That's it. That is important to me because I know that after doing yoga for 10 to 15 minutes per day for at least 30 days, and probably I'm going to continue doing it after, it is going to put me in a place where one, I'm physically more flexible, which can help me be more flexible in the rest of my life. I am more grounded. I am more relaxed, and I am just more aware of my body sensations. And when I have that awareness, then I can make the best choices. And that's where you want to be. Pausing, taking a moment to figure out what you need to be better prepared for things in the future is so important. Other things you can consider is one, making sure you have water. I talk about water all the time. I need to have a water bottle company or something. But one thing that's very helpful for me when I am about to transition is really looking at all the decisions I make and seeing where I can simplify them. So that's why I talk about the water all the time. I have my 32-ounce water bottle. I know I need to fill that up about 2 to 3 times per day. I fill it up before I leave the house. At lunchtime, I fill it up again. Easy, done. Don't have to think about drinking. I carry it with me, no problem. My food, super easy. My breakfast, either boiled eggs, a protein drink, or a Kind bar. That's it. I normally don't waver from that. Oh, maybe oatmeal. Four choices. Four. And most of the time, I'm going to go for eggs. A boiled egg is already done. I do the same thing with lunch and dinner. It's already pre-made. So when I'm stressed out, I don't want to have to think about what I'm eating. I need that decision to already be made. So another part of trying to decrease the stress is seeing where you can make your life just a little bit easier during that transition. You can even think about your clothes. For example, you'll probably see this in these videos. I wear similar clothes all the time. I don't have a wide variety of clothes, not because I can't, it's because I don't want to have a whole bunch of clothes. Then I have to think about, oh, I need to put this for that. No, I don't care enough. I don't care enough about clothes for me to want to dress a certain way. I usually wear a dress. That's one thing I have to think about. Occasionally, you'll see me in a shirt and pants, and usually that's workout clothes, or I'm wearing scrubs. So that's another way of just preparing yourself for that transition. Easy ways, because you want to start lightening your load. You also want to figure out where can you start creating space in your physical space, mental space, and just what kind of space do you need for this transition? For example, physical space. If you know that, for example, I am hopefully getting pregnant at some point. I have a house full of stuff, but I plan on hopefully bringing in another living being. I need to make space for that person. I need to make room for another person to be able to come into my life. So that's literally clearing out a room so that when that thing that I want, that person that I want, that child that I want is here, that I have room for them. Also, that space could be, do I have the mental space for whatever that transition is? So that mental space is, am I concerned about everything that's going on with everyone? I'll tell you a quick story. I was speaking to my mom yesterday, actually, and she was just telling me about all these different things that's happening with family, with friends, and all that. I'm like, I have no idea. what's going on with everyone. And usually I'm telling her about things. And I realized without even really consciously doing it, I unconsciously backed away from certain things or just didn't engage because I wanted to have the mental space to one, expand my business, expand my own physical family, and to just expand myself. I needed room for that. And if I am filling up my brain with everyone else's story and everyone else's baggage, I don't have enough room for the things that I want to bring into this world. So really creating that physical and mental space for yourself. Another thing you want to consider during a transition is what support do you need? So sometimes you need like physical support. Do you need new furniture, different things like that? And then support what people around you are going to keep you accountable and keep you motivated during whatever change process you're going through. For example, I mentioned earlier that I'm doing the 31 or 30 days of yoga over this month of December. I am posting it. I'm choosing to post it on social media because it will keep me accountable. It's a way of having Instagram or whatever social media platform I post on. They help to support me during this because it's something new. I know my brain is going to come up with a lot of mental drama. Oh, you're too busy. Oh, you have this, that, that. Even though I love yoga, I love it. My brain will come up with lots of things for me or for reasons for me not to do the thing I said I want to do. So having that support with accountability is very helpful. Whether you want to post your story on Instagram or if you want to, hey, start a YouTube channel like this or a podcast, or if you just want to have a coach. I'm a coach. I can help you out or any other person, but you want to be careful. I tell you this, when I first started my business, and when I actually before that, when I decided that I wanted to leave my traditional medical practice and look at more entrepreneurial pursuits, the coaching and other business ventures that I'm going into, I spoke with a couple different people about it, and I kept getting just so much negativity. And it's hard when it's something new and you have all these negative influences around it. When you have this new idea, you need to protect it. It's a seed that needs to be protected, it needs to be put in the earth, protected, and nourished. You want to share your seed, your story, your idea with people who will nourish and help bring life to that. Once your idea has become something and has some weight, then you can nitpick it and change it and do all those things. But sometimes that idea or that small little thing, you need to keep it to yourself. Just, not everything, just keep it to yourself for a while. Give it a chance to grow. And when it's able to sustain itself, then let everyone know about it. Then work on how to make it better and bringing those people who are more not, I guess I'll just call it negatively inclined. You can get input from them or people who don't fully understand what you're doing, but who could give you some good input. You can tell them about that later. Or you can also frame the conversation. You can let people know about your idea, but also try, if you can, put some boundaries around it and say, oh, I'm not really looking for a lot of input. I'm just kind of speaking out loud and telling you about my idea. But the thing is, you cannot control what other people say. You cannot control other people's response. So sometimes you want to be careful around who you share your ideas with because an idea can get crushed really quickly because it's just that it's an idea. But that idea was placed there in your heart for a reason. So take the time on your own to really nourish it, get input from people who will help it to grow, but really knowing the type of support that you need in that very beginning stage of whatever's going on with you. So, a coach, whether it's a therapist, whether you know it's a friend who's in a similar or someone who can give you some guidance, but making sure you have that support. When you're in a transition, you don't have to do it by yourself. That was one thing, and I'm also still learning that in general. I do have a lot of support around me, but there are times when if there's a problem, I'm just going to figure it out on my own. But know where you can go and who you can go to for support, and even scheduling that. I work with my own coach and we have regularly scheduled meetings. I write down what I'm going through, or we can Marco Polo and different things like that. So I'm always in constant communication. I always have someone that I can chat with. And I know that I'm a person who I just get it done. I figure it out on my own. When I see that I am doing that repetitively, that's when I know I'm probably more stressed than I think I am, and it's time for me to reach out for help. So, going back to what I talked about before, really start to look at those subtle signs of what stress looks like for you. Another way stress looks like, or another way stress can show up for me, is me wanting everything to look a certain way. My perfectionism will start to come out. Oh, I'll start nitpicking different things. I need things to look a certain way when really I'm more laid back, I don't care. But when I'm stressed, then I do care. It's not trying to have a lower standard. There's a different level. And my perfectionist people, we know when the tiny little things become a huge thing. So really being aware of that. So just going over this all again, when you're in a transition, looking at your stress, seeing what stress relieving activities you can bring in. Bring it in before that transition happens, if you can. And if you're at the beginning, start to incorporate it. Make the space and time for that. And then the third thing is, what space do you need? What physical space do you need? Do you need to create a home office so that you can transition yourself into whatever it is you're going to? What mental space do you need to clear up? Do you need to clean out clutter around you so that you have room to bring in what you need? And then what support do you need? Do you need to make a list of people who you know will encourage you? Do you need to start networking and finding more like-minded people who you can talk to about your different ideas and who can help nourish that seed, that idea that you have? Do you need a coach? There's so many different coaches out there. I'm one of them. I am so open to helping people through whatever experience they're having, because my goal is to make sure that throughout your life, whatever is going on, that transition is as smooth as possible, and that you are present through the experience, that you remember the experience, that you're making the choices that are aligned with what you want, not making choices that are from a stressed out place, from a place of lack, from a place of, oh, I just got to do it, from a place of, I just got to make it through. We're not just making it through, we are thriving and we're living a life of abundance. That is what we're doing. So if you need support in that transition because it's not something that's very familiar to you, or because we all need support, you can reach out to me. Or heck, if you don't feel like I'm your coach, get another coach. I just want people to get the support they need so that they can live the life that is sustainable and balanced. If you have any questions or any input, please let me know. I love hearing from you all. I hope you have a great day.